Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Coon. Gabe, what's up?
What's the word, brother? You doing well?
Yeah, we're kind of far away.
There we go. We're good. We're good. We're close enough. Like the Cowboy sweatshirt, even though they're knocked out and we're dealing with another Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl week. That's fun.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Can we say Super Bowl?
Yeah, as long as we're not selling
didn't we have
anything.
this conversation
Unless I did like a full on ad and used Super Bowl in it,
Right.
then I'd be in the crosshairs.
Right.
They'd come after
We're
me.
not going to do that.
Yeah, just like if we played the "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" sound, Michael Buffer, he'd come after our ass.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not do that. No reason. No reason at all. But what's happening, brother? You good? Good week?
Yep. Good week. It's Monday.
Good week. Good weekend.
Good weekend. Yes, I was out of town this
I
weekend.
haven't seen you since last Monday.
It's fair. It's fair. It's a fair point. I was out of town this weekend in Benton, Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay.
Middle of nowhere.
What were you doing there?
One of me and Anna Ruth's friends moved down there recently, and we went to visit them. We had a great time.
They have a nice house out there.
They got
some land.
Yes, her father has like 1,000 acres.
Oh,
literally, that's not like it's a lot of land.
They do some hunting on it or what?
Yes, yeah, a lot of hunting, and they live out there. So we went and visited them and checked out the land and all that they got going on. Dogs running everywhere.
Nice,
that kind of stuff.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So
all I did to get out of the house was go to the Tiger game on Saturday.
That was it.
It was fun. I can't lie.
Yeah.
For the last 8 minutes, last 8 minutes and the win part, that was fun.
Were you considering leaving?
No, I never. No. Well, how do I put it? I was considering because they're down 13 with about 8 minutes to go. I did say if we get to the under 4 timeout and they're trailing by 10 or more, I will give them like 2 minutes to cut it to 6.
So you did consider?
I did, yeah, but not. Yeah,
but you did.
Did not.
Were you talking crap the whole time?
I was asking questions. I don't know if talking crap's not the right word.
Okay.
But I was definitely asking questions.
That's
now,
fair.
Penny may see that. So you see me asking said questions as talking crap.
It's possible.
But I think most people that are level-headed and watch college basketball would say, those are fair questions.
Yeah.
Those are very fair questions.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Once again, not very pretty.
Yeah. You have any, Super Bowl plans?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Typically, so like we don't ever plan anything ahead of time. We're not good at, hey, what's the plan? What are we doing? Where we're at?
You're like me, spur of the moment.
Yeah, it kind of just happens. It will probably happen sometime between Thursday to Saturday. But me and my friends, we typically all watch it together. Usually we do crawfish. Usually this is like the first time that we do crawfish. But apparently not a good year for the old crawfish. Apparently they are going to be very small this year and double the price.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, why? What happened?
I think it was because of
when is crawfish season?
It officially starts like this upcoming weekend and then pretty much to the 4th of July.
Yeah.
But I think it was because of the lack of rain. I think that has everything all screwed up.
I'm of the opinion with crawfish, though. I need my nose running. I need it got to be spicy as hell.
Sweating.
Nose running, sweating.
Yeah.
That's the experience.
I know it's good when when I have to start dabbing my eyebrows. My eyebrows start sweating.
Yeah. Nose, though, when the nose gets
when the nose is running. Yeah.
Tongue is just like, you got to stick it out and breathe like a dog a little bit. Yeah, that's when the crawfish are really hitting. But I'll say this, crawfish for the Super Bowl, I'm not going to hate on crawfish anytime, but it's a wings day for me. Pizza and wings
That's
day.
fine. It's fine.
Like if I'm power ranking, Super Bowl eats, wings at the top, pizza second, then fill in from there.
I think the crawfish, we've done that the last 2 years. Before that, it was, pizza, wings, typical Super Bowl food. But I'm not going to turn down crawfish.
No, I'm not. Well, if there's such thing as people making crawfish shitty though, like not spicing it up.
One of my parents' friends makes it every time, and they're
on point.
Yeah,
good.
Well,
Good
I have a question. It seems every time I've had crawfish boils, they're outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
are you set up to watch the game outside, or
No,
are you
no,
kind of
no.
moving back and forth?
No, they're kind of just cooking it all outside, and then they bring it all indoors.
So y'all eat inside?
I don't think that's
Well,
smart with
it's
crawfish.
not in a house. It's in a garage
Okay.
that has a
Oh,
big
okay.
TV
See,
and
okay,
pool
that makes
table and all
sense.
that. So it's not like, hey, let's
I'm
eat this
imagining
crawfish,
them
carpet.
taking the big ass cooler full of crawfish and like covering their kitchen table.
No,
and just-
no.
I'm imagining
Dumping it all
Tracy if I was to ask her if we could do that.
If you could have crawfish in the house.
Yeah.
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 No, it's not in an actual house. So it's okay.
Okay,
It's a little
good.
bit better.
Good to hear.
But we'll see. I don't know the exact plans.
I
What
usually
are
have
your-
a party at
Do
the
you-
house,
at
but
your house?
Taylor's working, so she won't be there till halftime. Won't be off till halftime. So we did not do a Super Bowl party this
No?
year.
Just-
Not having people over. So I'll probably go to somebody's house. Who I know my buddy was talking about having a little get together. So maybe head out to Germantown. The one that lives right by Kenny.
Yeah.
One that lives right around the corner from Kenny.
Yeah. So you could theoretically stop by and say what's up to Kenny. But you
Yes,
probably won't.
I could. Wait, what are you doing? I absolutely could. I could stop by and say what's up to Kenny.
Yeah.
You know, my good buddy lives right around the corner from you, like directly around the corner.
We've
from
had
you.
this
right on
conversation.
Powell, right on the corner, like right across the way from the park,
Collierville campus.
from the park,
Collierville
and the
campus.
okay, fine, and
It's
the
over
tennis courts and everything else.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, so I could stop by and say hi, but that requires Kenny like wanting me to come by.
Answering the door.
It's fair. These are all fair points. Anything else? Any other plans? Anything fun going on, or is this it? That's
That's
as
it.
much as we
I
got.
don't want to see. The one thing is, you told me where were y'all traveling last year for the AAC tournament? Was that what it was, or the NCAA tournament?
When
Y'all
me-
were traveling when you went to go knock on Kenny's door, and he forgot some things, but you knocked on his door, and he was in his wife beater and underwear before y'all drove. Was that last
Oh,
year?
yeah,
the
he
NCAA
woke-
tournament?
he woke me
He
up.
woke you
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
See, I don't want to do that if I pull up to Kenny's house.
No, you
on
don't.
Sunday.
I promise. It's terrible. I was sitting outside like
Scarred.
4:45 in the morning,
Dog woke me up. I was like,
ready to go, tired, just ready to get on the road.
I had forgotten.
And he
about
had
that.
boogers in his eyes,
Yeah.
the drawers.
He was like, oh, what's going on?
What's going
Literally, well, yes, wife beater, undies, Kenny, half asleep.
Okay.
Christian took
It's
pictures.
a hell of a sight.
Christian took
4:45 in
pictures.
the morning.
Yeah.
Christian
And
did take some pictures. I'll tell you.
Did Kenny go quickly? No, Kenny did not go quickly.
And he forgot everything too.
And then I
To
forgot
add,
everything.
add to
It was a
it.
rough. It was
Yeah.
a rough.
It was a bad time for us to be
had to
going out of town.
We had to stop by Best Buy like 3 times in Columbus just to pick up stuff. It was bad.
It was bad. It's really bad. So if you're ever traveling with Kenny, which to his credit, we've traveled together quite a bit, and that is the only real mishap we've ever had.
Yeah.
And there was some built-in excuses for that happening. So I'll let him pass on that one.
Yeah. 4:45 Kenny and wife beater and undies is just that's a sight.
That's
It's
a
next.
sight.
It's
That's
next
a
level.
sight.
It is.
That's something.
It really gets you juiced up for your trip.
It wakes you up.
It wakes you up.
All right. You don't need an energy drink after that. Huh?
No.
All I know is we've traveled a lot together. Christian and I have traveled a lot together, and this is the first time. The Columbus trip was the first time we actually had kind of an apartment style hotel that we were staying in, where we had
yeah.
different rooms, and Christian was leaping for joy. Like he is.
Yeah.
You're like me.
sharing-
You're a snorer.
Sharing a room with me is probably not the greatest experience.
It's not bad.
But the snoring.
He does snore.
Yeah.
And you do catch a lot of glimpses of a large man and a wife beater and skivvies. That happens too.
I just got a new sleep number bed, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Stepping it up.
Quick side, man, moving on up in the world, bro.
Big
I'll tell you,
money.
it's so comfortable.
Big
I'll
money.
tell you this too, and it's got a snoring little button on it.
What is that? How is that?
Like if I'm snoring, Taylor can turn over, grab the remote, and say, "Stop snoring."
How does that work?
You lean up. and it,
Electroshock?
puts you, it like
Yeah,
leans
that's
you
what
up. It leans you up and puts you on you're like leaned up, so like your pathways are a little more opened.
So has this happened? Has this transpired like middle of the night yet?
I woke up this morning, sat up, Yes,
Gabe's
it
in
happens constantly.
Full 90-degree
Yes.
angle incline.
Yes, it closes all the way, so I can't breathe. I think that's the next step.
So do you not wake up
The
when
next
she does
step,
it?
the robotic arms are going to come out and take my pillow and smother me. That's the next step to this
you don't
thing.
wake up when she does it. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I
I'm a
guess I was
heavy
snoring.
ass sleeper, brother. When I snore,
That doesn't
I'm a
surprise me.
heavy ass sleeper. So
That
no,
doesn't surprise
I
me.
do not wake up when I'm getting tilted up. But
You wake,
I wake up that way.
confused?
I
You
wake
wake
up-
up confused, like, am I in a recliner right now? Like, what's going on?
no, I just go with the flow, man.
That's fair.
Not a big morning person, brother. Just
Not surprising either.
Just not.
I genuinely don't really think that you wake up until like 11 o'clock every day.
Some days it's like that.
Yeah.
Like full disclosure.
Yeah. Because there's been a lot of times, like in our group text, like where me and Kenny will say something in the morning and we don't hear anything from
Now,
until later.
what
in the
I do
afternoon.
a lot of days is I'll get up and go like sit out on the couch, start doing some typing up of what I'm going to do for the show that day, and I'll just leave my phone on the charger. That happens constantly.
Okay.
And I don't check my messages on my iPad when I'm typing my stuff up.
But there also are days where you sleep in a little bit.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%. My show doesn't start till 4.
I know.
Hell.
I would too.
And I do a lot of good, like my best prep moments, like when I'm prepping for the show, is a lot of them late at night. That's sort of when I.
What's your typical bedtime? 3,
Oh
2,
God,
3?
3 or 2? No.
Not that late.
I mean, sometimes I'll fall asleep around then, I guess, but like I'll probably try to lay in bed around 12:31. That's sort of I have a weird sleep schedule, brother.
Oh, so you're not that late.
Kenny, you can. That's pretty late, isn't it?
No.
Like 1 well for you maybe not.
Dude,
you have to
this
do a lot of-
guy,
yeah.
this guy will be up until like 3:30 in
Dude's
the morning,
vamping.
and then wake up at like 6:30 and get the kids to school. Like Kenny is a superhero when it comes to not sleep. If I slept for 3 hours, I'm worthless.
Yeah.
I typically average somewhere between 6 to 8. I know that's a wide range, but it just kind of depends on what's going on during the week. But usually 6 to 8. And I'll tell you, I'm a whole heck of a lot better with 8 than I am with 6. Whole heck of a lot better.
I've had to do that a lot, especially with this last year in particular, sleeping relatively a little bit, not much at all. I'm fine during the day, but ultimately, I had a conversation with Tracy at the beginning of the year, and I was like, I think I might have taken 10 years off my life with this last year's schedule. Like, it's been crazy because I've not slept much at all.
There's just no way that after like 10 or 11 o'clock, you can be worth anything.
I am just like Gabe. I'm wide awake. I'm good. I do my best work.
Yeah,
No.
that's where
I'm
at.
saying after, like, if you sleep for like 3 hours in a night and you wake up, get the kids to school, by the time you get home and get like settled back in, I'd be worthless. By like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning,
I mean,
I'd be done.
I got no.
I think
got no
Kenny and I
choice.
are outliers with the sleep schedule, though.
Yeah, I don't need a whole lot of sleep.
Like
honestly,
most
to be
people that
What
have
do
a
you mean, brother? You're saying you sleep like 8 or 9 hours
No,
a
but
night.
I'm talking about when we go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I was
it's just
about to-
different.
I was about to say.
Like if you're laying down by 1 a.m., there's not a lot of people that do that.
No, I agree. That's
just
fair.
being completely honest, but that's me every night.
Every night.
Every night, if not a little bit later.
Like even pre 92.9.
Yes.
What do you just sitting on the couch watching TV?
Well, doing like have
Show
my
prep.
iPad out, doing show prep, watching some games, watching highlights, watching clips. Then I'd probably before I lay down watch like an episode of TV, whatever I'm watching at that time.
That's fair.
And then I take my ass to sleep and then try to roll over and fall asleep.
It's fair.
Yeah. So there's that, but that's not normal that's
No,
not
it's
a normal
You're right.
thing.
You're right. Like as I'm getting to the age where I have a lot of friends that are married and stuff now, most of them go to sleep by like 10:30 at the absolute latest.
Yeah,
most
kids,
of them are
kids
getting
change
in.
schedules. All right,
I would never be able to do
kids
that.
change schedules.
Yeah, this is like early marriage, no
Yeah.
kids yet. Like
Oh.
they're like 9 to 10 o'clock. They're getting in bed.
And
going
then
to
we
sleep.
also have like 9 to 5ers. We have people that wake up and have to get to work by 7 and 8. So that's just different.
Yep.
I don't have to do that.
Yours truly. Yeah, no, I know. It's a good life that you live. It's a good life that you live.
Hey, so since we're on air right now, I do want to shout this out. Tomorrow, I don't have a third hour because of Grizzlies versus Knicks, 4:30. Or do you want to? You want to tape? What do you want to do tomorrow? Holler at me.
Normal.
Oh, normal. All right, cool.
We'll stay normal.
Good deal.
You just
listen
let
to Christian Fowler, 4:30 p.m., 92.9 ESPN. He'll be on there.
You just went fourth
As is
wall on
customary.
everybody.
He did.
Tuesday.
He broke the fourth wall.
Yep.
But
got to.
wait. So when are we still doing it at our normal time?
Normal time.
Okay.
Normal time.
Like we're recording at our normal time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. I will be on the Gabe Kuhn show
4:30 p.m. tomorrow.
4:30 this afternoon, just like I am every single Tuesday. Sometimes things get
And I
worked
had to
out.
go a little inside baseball,
That's
man.
fine.
It's
Hey, that's
good
fine.
for people
That's fine.
sometimes.
That's fine. People do like to see that. People like to know the behind the scenes stuff, and that's
All right.
as mundanely behind the scenes as it can get, but it is behind the scenes.
Yes.
Okay, let's transition to some Memphis basketball. And see, I like this time of year though, because we can talk a little bit more, because we really don't have like a ton to talk about when it
Yeah,
comes
we
to
just
this stuff.
we got basketball.
We can talk about personal stuff,
But
all
I
we
think we have a lot.
No, we do. No,
I
we
have
do.
a fair amount to say. I
okay,
really
okay.
do.
Can we? Let's. I'm going to lay it up like this. If you don't like it, as Ron Burgundy
Lay
would
it
say, send it right back.
Okay.
Did you get the reference?
Just come on. Lay it up.
Okay. The game in and of itself, whatever, go down, looks ugly the whole time, come back, eventually win towards the end of the game.
Man.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
we're not at a point in this season where we're really looking at game by game basis right now.
We would be if they beat the hell out of them and we knew what they were doing right.
Right.
Or if they lost, we'd break down. But like they won 65-63 against a 9-13 team.
Yeah. So as our wonderful producer Kenny Stubblefield always says, and this has become one of my favorite terms ever since I've known the man, take the zoom out, 30,000-foot view. Let's talk about Penny's comments after the game, how we feel about what's going on. We've had a lot of discussion about locker room, on court, how all this is affected. So let's not even worry about. We're not going to sit here and break down this Wichita State game, because in a vacuum you could say, okay, they got to win, but overarching, we know it means
There's some
basically
things in
nothing.
there that I think are worth discussing, but they go along with the
Exactly.
with Penny's opening
100%,
statement
100%,
and how he sort of attacked the media. He sort of
There's only one thing that I think needs to be discussed about the game, and that's what we're going to discuss
Yes.
right now.
Right.
So.
Right.
So, Penny, after the game, for those that haven't seen his opening statement, I thought, for a lot of people that are just diehard Memphis fans, they probably read it as a rally or heard it as a rallying cry, like, oh, yeah, awesome, go Tigers. He said he wanted to coach at Memphis. He was called by God to coach at Memphis. A little strange to me, but whatever. And then he went on to say, these are still young guys. They have off weeks. They have off months. They have off days. Then he kept going, and he was talking about the media. And he said, some of the stuff I've read is laughable. Some of the stuff I've heard is laughable. I think in the end of the day, I have respect for everybody out there. I just expect that respect, turned back and reciprocated. But all of this stuff sort of was said off the top of his presser. And I'll say this. I like the emotion. I like that he wants to do good for the University of Memphis. But it felt like a big-ass – it felt like he was gaslighting the media and a lot of the fan base that have been sort of in that naysayer camp, just sort of in that camp that's like, man, Penny, you got to get control of this. You have to, after 4 games losing, you have to get a hold on the rotations. You have to get a hold on all of the chemistry issues, those type of things. But it felt like he was just gaslighting everybody, because I think the big thing that leapt off for me, because I talk about this daily on 92.9 along with my colleagues and all the other hosts there, when he says, like, just because we have a downtime and these guys have a downtime doesn't mean that we're, have chemistry issues. It doesn't mean that something is broken about our team, yada, yada, yada. The only thing I'd say to him, calling like the media talking about that laughable, is you're the one who created those things, Penny.
Right.
You're the one who, after the South Florida game, said you can't play certain lineups because they have personality clashes. You're the one who, after every loss, was talking about this team being selfish. You were in the end of the day, you can blame the media for what they're writing, but they're writing those things because you created a narrative about this team on the front end.
Right.
It was not a chicken. It's not a chicken or the egg thing. It was
Right.
Penny Hardaway says team chemistry is a big issue.
Yeah.
talk about team chemistry. So the media talks about team chemistry, and then on the back end, he's like, I don't know why y'all are talking about team chemistry. That's not fair to do this to this team. We go through bad moments.
Right.
It's like it just felt like a big-ass gaslighting of the media and a lot of the fan base. And it was frustrating to hear that from him.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all, because typically when we speak about things that are potentially going on behind the scenes and what's causing negativity that we're seeing on the floor, we have to speak about it from speculatory terms. Like, we can't say...
And Penny allows all of it to be speculated upon, right?
But
like, he says these things. Sometimes they're coded, sometimes they're not so coded. But he doesn't like name names, which I don't think he should.
Right.
But then it just leaves everybody in the media to just... It's open for speculation.
No, but I'm saying typically when we talk about it, we speculate there could be something going on.
Yes.
Like, we don't know for sure, because
Right,
that's
okay,
not,
I know where
that's,
you're going.
that's not
Yeah.
said.
I know where you're going.
So
with that.
typically it's like, is there something going on behind closed doors? Is that what's causing issues on the floor? Is that what's causing some of the things that we think we're seeing? But this isn't one of those situations. Like, this wasn't a media-driven narrative to come up with a potential problem that was causing the losses on the floor. This was, as you mentioned, something that he said. So we were able to point to something concrete, and we've talked about this every week for the past 3 to 4 weeks on here and on your show. We've talked about these issues, and we haven't talked about them. About there could be things going on that are called. We talk about them in concrete terms, that there are things going on, and it's not because we're in the locker room every day and we have some secret video cameras back there telling us that there's something wrong. No, Penny actually said that there were issues and there were problems, and so we were able to talk about it from a fully concrete perspective, not from a speculatory this could be happening. So,
I mean, because, like, full disclosure, like, as somebody who's around the team all the time,
who records every damn home presser.
I'm at
God's
press
sakes.
availabilities. I'm in the Lori Walton facility. I'm not around the team in, like, a personal basis, but more so at BCM, it's me and Roman Cleary that are around the team more than anybody else. We don't get to go to practices. Like, we're not in the facility. It's not like we get any kind of availability or any type of opportunity to go and see them practice and see what's going on in the practice, on the practice court, or, behind the scenes or whatever. We only get what's told to us. That's the only thing that we can report on, is what's told to us. And anyway, I know we're kind of laying it out here, so I'll let you keep going. But I just wanted to kind of clarify that we're not there watching things and going, "Hey, this is what we see." We are only reporting what we are told.
right.
Literally, if you don't remember, if you're listening to us and you don't recall Penny talking about all these things, do yourself a favor. Back out of this for a second. Come back to us. Back out of this for a second. Go scroll down all those videos on Bluff City Media's YouTube. Go to the press availability after the UAB game. Just go read through it.
Yeah.
See how Penny answered the questions about team chemistry and if people are being selfish and he literally feeds this to us. Then we talk about it. Then on the back end, he's like, I think you've been unfair talking about these things. Right. You're the one who told us these things, man.
Yeah.
It's just, it's wild, man. It just feels like he's riling up certain people and gaslighting certain people. And it's just, it's something. And I also think, can we be honest about when he did this whole thing?
That's what I was about to say.
You beat a 9-12 team by 2 on your home floor and had to come back from 13 down with 7 minutes to go.
Well, even more so than that, this wasn't said the last 4 games, but as soon
You're doing a little front run it, but that's the point. It shouldn't even be a front running moment.
No. And so these points kind of work together, because as soon as they do finally get back to winning a game, then there's those negative comments that have been made, and I don't even know if you want to call them negative, but things saying like we're lacking leadership, we're lacking chemistry, like that flips to, why is this narrative being painted? Why is this picture being painted about this team? And all it took to flip that switch was a 2-point win over a not very good Wichita State team, a team that, if you rewind a little bit, Memphis thumped Wichita State on the road the last time they played them. This time,
23 points.
23 points. It was
26.
26. It was their biggest win at the time. Still their biggest win. because it was Virginia before that. And so you look at the situation now at home. They trail the whole game. It looks like it's going to be a 5th loss in a row, and the same storylines and conversations that we've been talking
11,
about.
12 band rotations,
Right,
and
are going to be prevalent in this. Now, if you want to cherry pick a couple things, okay, they didn't turn the ball over as much. Okay, they rebounded a little bit better. Cool, but
those are the reasons you won the game too. At the end of the day,
right. So let's talk. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about rotations, because I think that is extremely important. And this isn't a new thing at the University of Memphis. This isn't a new thing if you're a Memphis basketball fan or in the Memphis media and have covered teams under Penny Hardaway. There have been plenty of times in the past, probably at least at one point every season,
every year, every year,
that the rotations
Never
have
fails.
just been too deep. They've just been too much. And probably the most ironic part about it is this year, going into this year, and then with what we saw early in the season, we talked about it. Rotations aren't going to be a problem. If there's one thing that is pretty much set in stone, you know who your guys are, you know who your guys waiting in the wings are. That split is clear. We know who's going to play. We know that.
God, we fooled the shit out of ourselves. Didn't we?
We did, because those are comments that we made, that it was pretty set in stone and blatantly obvious.
But then the Jordan Brown thing happens.
Right.
And Naquan Tomlin gets added, and Caleb Mills gets hurt.
Right.
And there's just things that sort of spiraled out of control on them.
Yeah, and then you go on a streak of losing, so you feel like you got to change things, and you're inserting people into the lineup that really haven't even played meaningful minutes, and so now it just has kind of gone off the rails.
I'm going to say this, and people are going to send your comments in. I don't care. I really don't care. This is what I'm going to say. That Rice game on Wednesday, he lost his mind.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What the hell was that first half?
Yeah.
You start Jaquan Walton, Jonathan Pierre, who's 4 minutes per game, right? Who else was in that starting line? David Jones was in there. Then you had Naquan Tomlin and Malcolm, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't have a starting point guard. Then you had the rotation schedule. Let's do the rotation schedule here. This is fun. 7 players in the first 3 minutes, 8 players in the first 8 minutes, 9 in the first 10, 10 in the first 11, and then 11 in the first 12 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It was erratic. It was confusing. And it was, quite frankly, one of the most mismanaged halves of basketball I've seen from any college basketball coach this year, if not the most mismanaged half. And that's why you lost.
And they lost to Rice.
And you see, too, when he does not do that with his rotations. Let's point to the last 8 minutes against Wichita State, for example. Naquan Tomlin, Javon. Is it Jaquan? Jaquan was in there at that time.
Yeah, Jaquan.
David Jones, Nick Jordan.
Yeah.
That was their 5.
Yeah.
Kept them in there for 8 straight minutes. They come back from 13 and win the ball game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more obvious it has to get until he learns shorten your rotation and trust your guys. Because you'll also see these guys lose confidence because they're looking over their shoulder like, oh shit, if I turn the ball over, is he going to yank me?
Is he pulling me? Yeah.
It is so frustrating, man, to consistently see what is leading to at least some of the on-court, issues where they're turning the ball over too much and they're not connected on defense. You see those things, and you're like, well, they're not connected because they don't know who they're going to play next to in the next minute.
Yeah.
It's so painfully obvious. And it feels like through these last 5 games, everyone in Memphis can see it except for Penny Hardaway.
Yeah.
And I hope that those last 8 minutes from against Wichita State help him learn. Right. I hope that changes around his thought process behind his rotations. But I saw 32 minutes worth of that not being the case and only 8 minutes of it being the case.
Right.
So how am I supposed to believe that completely made him flip his whole mindset on a dime?
Right.
It is frustrating. It's a frustrating reality that we're at right now.
Yeah, to say the least. And honestly, Gabe, Kenny, like one thing I don't want to do is how does this get fixed? We've done this ad nauseum over the last several weeks. I don't want to do it again because it doesn't matter. Like it genuinely like it doesn't matter.
Well, we know what fixes
Yeah.
it, like at least in like a meaningful way on the
Right.
floor. I don't know, but maybe I don't know if there's chemistry issues anymore. He tried to wave those off
Right.
at this last press available.
Yeah, and then it's just like, who knows what gets thrown out in the next game anyway. So what's the point in sitting here saying this is how you fix it? I just
Shorten the rotation. Okay, bam, go.
that's I mean.
I don't know how to put it in simpler terms. Like
I don't either.
it's what it is.
Yeah.
You can't play 12 guys and expect to be successful.
No, especially guys that haven't played meaningful minutes all year.
And guys that aren't very good.
You have Carl Sharonfont, and you have Jonathan Pierre.
Yeah.
And Jaden has not been good this year, although he probably needs minutes. Ashton forgot if he's not knocking down a 3-ball, I don't know what good he does in the game.
Right.
That doesn't mean he won't develop, but right now it's just not there for him.
And that's the frustrating part because, like I was saying earlier, there was pretty much the whole year up until the last 6 or 7 games, there was a clear separation of this roster of the veteran, experienced guys that were going to get you where you wanted to go, and the guys waiting in the wings that have potential. I don't think none of us are saying that Ashton and Carl and JP like can't be good players. They all have a lot of potential out of that. I think they all can be good. But they're not ready yet. Like they weren't guys that were tailor made to come in and be starters or heavy rotational guys their first year on campus.
Let me put it as simple as this: you're playing 11 guys a game. You don't have 11 good college basketball players.
Yeah.
You have 6, 7, at the most 8. You're starting 5, and then whoever your reserve big is, Nick Jordan or Malco,
Right.
that's 6. Then Jaden, I think, could be up there. Jalen Young could potentially be up there. But those are like average guys at the most. Like you're playing 11 guys and you don't have 11 good basketball players right now at the college level.
100%.
Like it's that simple. I don't know how to put it in any simpler terms. I just don't know what to do.
And I'll
really
say this to kind of.
If I drop my phone one more time, I swear.
Yeah, good Lord.
Let me just put it over here.
There you go.
I'll say this as well. If Christian, you said you don't want to talk about how to fix it because we already know, right? Like we know. We've had those discussions ad nauseum. I'm going to make a prediction that I don't think is a hot take.
Okay.
If Penny doesn't shorten the rotation and play 8 players,
They'll
9
lose.
at the most, they will not make the tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
If he shortens the rotation, they could probably win the AAC and get an at-large bid.
It's so ironic that you say that because
I still think that even that they have an uphill battle.
No, I agree, but I was sitting here thinking that as we were like doing our little pre-show meeting before we were actually on air, I was sitting here thinking this team is going to be a roller coaster the rest of the year, and they're going to go to that freaking conference tournament, and they're going to roll everybody. That's what would happen, and none of us would be surprised.
No,
because that's what these teams do. That's what Penny's teams do. Like they don't play well. They don't play well. They don't play well.
But can I be honest about the damn AAC tournament? You're 6th in conference right now. You're 5-4. There's 3 teams in conference that are 8-1.
No,
you're not going to get a bye game, so you're going to have 4 games in 4 days.
And they'll probably do it. And they'll probably
sure. I'm not. But I'm saying like. Even with that, they've made that even hard on themselves. That's like where I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy shit.
Of course.
It's different than it has been, though. Like, that's the point I've been trying to get across. Like, they usually start slow, get really good by the time the tournament comes around. They started fast, and they have been slowing down ever since.
Yeah.
If Penny shortens the rotation, they will be top 4 in the conference.
Okay. I don't doubt that. That's the thing. Like I can't even come close to doubting that.
No, and if they go roll everybody in the conference tournament by 15 points, I won't be surprised.
Well,
now that's just that there's never been much of a rhyme or reason to these teams.
Have you sort of looked at their at-large hopes right now?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's awful. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have a couple of quad 1 opportunities, SMU, FAU twice. And then North Texas will be a pretty solid opportunity on the road, I think quad 2.
Quad 2, yeah.
But Bart Torvik, who has not been high on Memphis like all year, and you sort of realize on the back end, damn, maybe he was projecting a little bit and he sort of saw what was coming.
Right.
to get an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament in 2024, the Memphis Tigers, according to his calculation and his metrics, they have a 0.3% chance of getting an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. A 0.3%.
0.3% chance.
I mean, it's honestly not that shocking though, because
here's the thing. People have been trying with this last 10. Obviously, they're 1-0 in this last 10 because they beat Wichita State. People were saying 8-2, 9-1, 10-0. 10-0 would handle it. But that's shit.
That's
that would
about
be
it.
3 quad 1 wins.
Right.
Dude, you'd be 3-0 on the quad 1. You should, that's hard to do.
Right.
The percentage chance of that happening seems very low right now.
But
even when people said 9-1,
about 0.3.
yeah, when people said 9-1, when people said 8-2, I was still sitting here like, okay, let's say they go 9-1, they beat FAU twice, and they were to win that other game against SMU. If they lost at Temple, if they lost to Charlotte, if they lost at ECU, they still wouldn't get an at-large bid because that loss would weigh so large on the damn resume.
Yeah.
Like these other ones that they've taken. They have a quad 4 loss on the damn on the cards right now.
Yeah.
You can't afford another one.
No, absolutely not.
So it's like it depends. It's just threading the needle the rest of the way. That's why it's a 0.3% chance according to Bart Torvik.
Yeah, that's
nuts, isn't it?
That is rough.
That
is extremely rough, especially with the mountaintop that Memphis was sitting on not that long ago.
And again, like you can be positive. I'm not going to tell you not to be positive.
It's just hard.
I'm just in a space where I am just going to be hesitant to believe Penny Hardaway is going to make the change he needs to make to actually get this team going the right direction.
Okay,
because
Gabe.
I think it does come down to him, right? Like, can we agree on that?
Sure,
it comes down to him on his rotations and how he wants to handle the rest of this team.
Yeah. Gabe, Kenny, the last several weeks have been nothing but negativity talking about Memphis basketball. I'm kind of tired
You're
of the
over
negativity. It? Yeah, and I can't put a positive spin on it, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
So I'm going to transition us.
Okay.
And I'm going to say there is one person that always brings positivity to the show. Sometimes Gabe's down. Sometimes I'm a little down. There's one person on this show that's never down. One Kenny Stubblefield always brings it, always brings the positivity. And I'm hoping after a pretty negative segment, he can come in, inject some positivity in here. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, Kenny is hopefully going to inject some positivity and give us the hot 3.
There we go. You said he was all the time.
And my best of the week is these little old Southern ladies who come in for their physical therapy and bring me sweets, man. Lemon pound cake with fresh blueberries in it.
Gosh.
Or
and you know it's always good when they say,
"Oh, dude,
like what's this called?" And it's always like, "It's a lemon surprise."
When you're taking care of these little old ladies, like they appreciate you so much, man, and they're just like, "I just want to shower you with gifts."
Very grateful, right?
I am very grateful. They are too, and they bring me sweets. My favorite story about this was when I was working in Magnolia in the outpatient clinic there in Corinth. I had a lady in her, I was asking her during her eval, like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? She said, I like to bake, and I make the best cheesecake you've ever had in your life. I said, I don't believe it. She goes, well, I'll make you one. I said, okay.
Played that perfectly. She
came back to her next appointment with a cherry, strawberry, and blueberry. And I'll PG it up. But she said, I know what you did, you little SOB. And it worked.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Sports stop being fun when the players are the enemy, bro. I'm just watching a bunch of guys that are not fun to watch. I don't care if these dudes play for the name on the front of the jersey. I don't care about any of that. But have some pride for the name on the back of the jersey. You know what I mean? Have some pride for the name on the back of the guy who's beside you in the huddle jersey. Play for him. Play for yourself. And when I say that, play for pride. I'm not saying being selfish. You know what I mean? But it's hard to watch these guys, man. Like, you can tell that these guys are thinking about everything other than winning a basketball game.
Is that not the truth, man?
Like, for real, though. Like, you can tell their mind is on audit.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Look, at the end of the day, this is all Penny's fault.
More or less. I mean, yeah. Right? I mean, he composes the roster. He helps build the culture.
And is he going to hold himself accountable, and is he going to figure out a way to fix it?
It's a good question.
You got, 6 weeks left in the season for Selection Sunday? 5 or 6 weeks?
This has
Yeah,
been a
I mean,
common theme throughout his entire career
Sure.
at Memphis.
Sure.
Is chemistry issues, whether it's been with 5 freshmen, whether it's been with a healthy mix of freshmen and veteran, or whether it's been a team full of veterans.
I mean, there's no doubt. We said it going into the year. This is absolutely by far and large the most talented team that he's had. I guess the 21 team would give this team a run for its money, but I would say this is the worst team that he has had.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. This is the day y'all are going to stop hating on my intro song for the Hot Three.
No, it's not.
It's not. I like the drop. We've talked about
It's literally every single episode. I look at y'all on the camera and y'all just laughing at each other.
Pretty much.
Hey, where'd you get that, by the way? Did you make that beat?
Yes, dude. You don't know this about me? I'm an amazing
You're a
amazing
producer?
beat producer.
I bet
I'm
you
a producer
are, man.
of
You're a man of many
beats.
talents.
Yes, I am. Hey, listen.
Hey,
We're going to get to the Hot Three in a second, but I kind of wanted to put a little bow on that last
Let's
segment.
do it. Let's do
All
it.
right?
Tie it up nice and
I am anticipating what the YouTube, Twitter comments are going to be tomorrow.
okay.
Why are you so negative? Why are we so negative, guys? Why was that segment so negative? Is it appropriate for us as a media company, as content creators, as those who do this thing, is it appropriate for us to be, and I'm doing air quotes over here, negative?
it's appropriate for us to tell the truth that we see. That's all I can say.
Mic drop.
And we did nothing but tell our truth and what I think most people are actually thinking. If you're not blinded by sort of, the full
What you
fan.
want
If you're not blinded by your fandom, you see the ills
Yeah.
with this team. And
What
I
you
think we
want this team
explained
to
the
be.
ills of this team very, very well, and what
Yeah.
exactly can change and should change for this team to get back to where they were.
Yeah.
So for the people that think it would be negative, I want to go ahead and say it's realistic. It's honest.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we don't think that this team's talented enough to turn it around. It just, the truth of it is, they can only go as far as their sort of coach allows them to go. And I think they need to play the lineup that we saw close the last 8 minutes a lot.
Yeah.
And they should shorten the rotation.
they should get a lion's share of the minutes moving
Yeah.
forward.
100%.
That is the only way.
And there should be no way that they get pulled out in 5 minutes.
Yep. Kenny, you're supposed to be bringing positivity.
I am.
But
he
wanted to.
I wanted to just
fair,
tie a little
it's
bow
fair,
on
it's
that.
fair.
All right, let's get to the Hot Three. You boys ready?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Let's be positive.
Well, let's be positive. Steve-O got traded.
Yes.
Yep.
The Grizzlies, man. So it's been a kind of again, we talked about it last week, an up and down year. Some good things that have happened. Some really terrible things that have happened. I think they're leading the NBA in games lost due to injury by like a country mile. Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
Steve-O has obviously, been a large part of that, being out for the entire last 2 seasons, really. He's been traded. He got traded for an expiring contract in Victor Oladipo, and was it 4 second-round picks?
3.
3? Was it 3? Okay, so 3 second-round picks. What are your guys' thoughts on the move? What the Grizzlies are going to be doing? What are they going to do?
Also, can we just laugh though? You mentioned they're like missing a bunch of games. They had 13 players out.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
13 players out against the Boston Celtics on the road. Good Lord. If
a
you
re-
watch that one, I'm sorry.
It's a recipe for success.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was
they were ready to go win that game.
That was a fun.
Holy God. And then like what? It's 3 of them on 10 days and 3 of them on 2 ways.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
6 of their 8 rotational players.
Good God, dude. That's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah. Let's talk about.
And by the way, Victor Oladipo fits very well on this team.
No, he
because he's
does
got
not.
because he's got a
'cause he's-
patellar tendon. And he's
right.
right on the
He's not
injury
gonna
report.
play.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say, man, post highlight stuff of him from the Indiana Pacers. And I'm like, bro, that was 17 knee surgeries ago.
Yes, man.
Right.
Feel bad for him, dude. He really he
was-
cannot catch a break. He'll have like an ACL, and then you're like, oh, it can't get worse than that patellar tendon.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
On the Steven trade though, it's sad.
Yeah.
Because I think every Grizzlies fan, everybody in Memphis really, you can't dislike Steven Adams. But at the same time, to me, and I know we've talked about, don't mortgage next year for assets, like this team needs to keep this core intact. I just don't really know how much Steven was going to be able to bring. And I think that's kind of where the question comes from because, 2 years, no play-in, injuries. It's kind of hard to see him being who he was beforehand. And even if he was to get to that point, it's going to take a lot of time. So to get rid of the contract, to get obviously an expiring contract in Victor Oladipo.
And then 3 seconds.
And 3 seconds. And, who knows? They can be used for future bargaining chips. I hope they don't use all those second-round picks. I hope they
Ain't nobody trying to see 3 second-round picks on the roster next year, are we?
No. But their history is they'll trade up with second-round picks. I'll get to that in a second. I'm sad to see Steven go.
For sure.
Thought he was a perfect fit for this team in a lot of ways. I think he would have been a even more favorable fit if he was better on defense. He can get picked apart when he gets into drop coverages, and he's not a good switchable big, but the offensive rebounding, the second chance opportunities, he's decent as a rim protector. His screen setting is second to none in the NBA, in my opinion. Those things are sorely missed, and that made him a great fit with this team. And I think going forward, they're going to have to find another big that does similar things to him. But we'll have to sort of see how that works out when we get there. My thoughts on this trade. I can just say it's incomplete. I can't decide if this is going to work out, if they won this trade, if they're going to win going into the future because they made this trade, because it's clearly just a move to facilitate other moves.
Right.
And when you have something like that happen, you can't just sit there and put that trade in a vacuum and say, oh, I can't believe they let go of Steven for 3 second-round picks. That's ridiculous. Because in the past, they have used second-round picks relatively well. They got Vince Williams Jr., they got G.G. Jackson with second-round picks. They also traded up to go get Brandon Clark using the second-round picks. Desmond Bane using second-round picks. I think Santi may have been one of those.
Yeah.
So, again, it's hard for me to give a full thought on what I think this means for them and if they're going to do well with those second-round picks. But it's incomplete because it's just a move to facilitate more moves, maybe this offseason, something like that, something around the draft. You could package some things together with the pick you're going to have in the lottery and go find a player. We will just see. Now, when that move is made and we see where these second-round picks are going, then we can judge it.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm just going to sort of lay low. But I think my overarching thought is like Steven being gone, kind of sad.
Yeah,
kind of sad.
for sure.
But to your point, you talk about his injuries. Missed the better part of 2 years. Clearly, his knee injury was a lot worse than we originally thought, and he's going to be on the backside of 30. He's going to be in his 30-year-old season, 31-year-old season. So, I think there is, the thought process out there that the Grizzlies thought that maybe his health would hamper him going through the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I think he'll help the Rockets, though. He'll be a reserve big for Alperen Şengün when he goes to the bench, and I think that's helpful for them. It brings them a little bit more edge, toughness. So I like it for the Rockets. I can't really judge the Grizzlies side of this thing yet.
Agreed. All right, Kenny, next.
All right, so just kind of Gabe went behind the fourth wall on the Gabe Kuhn show.
Yep.
In the first segment. We'll go behind the fourth wall on the Hot 3 segment on the Bluff. We were, prior to the episode being recorded, we were sitting, kind of having our little pre-meeting and kind of told y'all what the topics were going to be. And I said, we got to talk Super Bowl. And both of y'all said, just leave that to us. So we got one segment. We got one more Hot 3.
Okay.
Or one more topic in the Hot 3. That's the Super Bowl. Break it down, boys.
Okay.
Let's just talk.
I'm betting Chiefs, and I'm not thinking about it twice. And if they lose, I'll take it. It'll be all right.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, but that's where we're at. I found it kind of funny. Did you see the 49ers deal today? Where their practice field is
UNLV.
completely effed up.
Yeah.
They put sod over the turf at UNLV, and they do like a hardness test for field conditions across the NFL. And the average is 78. And no NFL's playing surface goes under 70. Apparently that sod that they put over the turf is at like a 50, somewhere in the 50s. So, like, I don't know if that works out in, like, the Chiefs' advantage where the 49ers are going to have to deal with a weird playing surface and not play on the same playing surface coming up on Sunday. But that's just strange in itself. But this game, I'm
does
looking...
that make it, real quick, as a former player, does that make a difference, Gabe? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, if you're on a terrible playing surface and you can't get your footing and then you're playing on a completely different one on Sunday, now it'll be real grass because they do real grass in Allegiant, and apparently they, like, age the sod they put in for the Super Bowl like 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
But I find it also strange the fact that they couldn't. It could play a factor, Kenny, to answer your question. I do find it crazy too. Like last year's playing surface, y'all didn't learn anything, and y'all are running into these same problems again.
Right.
That's messed up. Like you're the NFL. How much money do you have? How many viewers do you have? How many?
Fix it.
Figure it out. Like it's not that complicated.
Not that hard.
But yeah, I saw that. This game, though, I'm actually looking forward to, man.
Yeah.
I think it's I sort of look at the Chiefs, and they've gotten here doing it a different way. Defense first in a lot of ways. Now, once we got into the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they always seem to figure it out. Rashee Rice has been phenomenal. Andy Reid's a good game planner. Give him 2 weeks to game plan for any defense. I think he'll have a good plan. And then on the 49ers side as well. And then on the 49ers side, yeah, it's a good coach, but I'll say this about the 49ers. I think Shanahan, like, you got to get through this time, bro. Because you don't know when this is, like, there's some guys that are on that team for the 49ers that are aging a little bit. It's hard to get back here year after year. Yeah. You've already lost a couple, the Falcons as the OC,
right.
49ers first time around. Yeah, you got to take advantage while you can, man. You don't want to be 0-3 in Super Bowls in your career.
Yeah, I understand why, like, it felt like pretty much everybody wanted the Lions and the Ravens to be in the Super Bowl because people get on bandwagon very easily when these big
Lions are a fun story.
Well, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like when these big Instagram pages and stuff push certain narratives, right. It's very easy to get people on bandwagons. But like at the end of the day, this is a really intriguing Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah.
You have honestly two of the greatest offensive minds in the history of the NFL in Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. And you also, this year, have two of the best defenses in the NFL. So a game like this, Chiefs, 49ers, is probably not going to be the fireworks Super Bowl that people... It's not going to be last year's Super Bowl, right?
Right.
More than likely. It's not going to be last year's Super Bowl where it's back and forth.
I think it'd be low
Eagles,
scoring.
Chiefs.
It could be very low scoring.
Could be a very low scoring game. It's probably going to be a chess match of a game. And it's going to be whichever coach coaches those situations better.
Yep.
And to me, as a like diehard football fan, lover of the game, X's and O's, those games are a lot of fun, especially when it's in the biggest moment, because there's so much that goes into it for those two coaches. And then you just look around. I know we don't have a storyline like the Kelce's and stuff like that. I mean, that's a difficult one. That's not going to happen all the time. You know, like you're not going to get two brothers playing each other in the Super Bowl every year. But I think there are some interesting storylines with this. Of course, you've got Brock Purdy being the third youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl as a 7th round pick, as the last pick in the draft. You got Patrick Mahomes, who is really in the midst of building a top tier legacy and is chasing the GOAT.
Brady,
in pretty
and
much every statistic right now is beating him. The only thing he isn't equal with him in is Super Bowl
he could be.
victories. And if he wins, they have the same amount at the age that Patrick Mahomes is
Or 6
currently
years
at.
into their
20,
career.
yeah, 6 years into their career. You've got the fact that this is another pretty cool one. Kyle Shanahan's father, Mike Shanahan, was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And one of the receivers on that team was Ed McCaffrey, who is the father of Christian McCaffrey, which is just one of those cool intertwined storylines that, and I think it was like 27, 28 years ago when Mike Shanahan and Ed McCaffrey won Super Bowl with the Broncos, and now you got Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan who are attempting to win a Super Bowl for the 49ers. So there's a lot of cool storylines weaved into it. There's always going to be in Super Bowls because there's always enough players where crazy stuff happens. But to me, very intriguing game, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
And you got Taylor Swift.
Of course.
Yes. So there's
Naturally.
that. Yeah.
Naturally. That's the biggest storyline, really.
You seen there's a Canada, FanDuel has like a betting odds on yes or no if
she'll make it.
No, if Travis Kelce will following the game propose to her on the field.
Interesting.
Yes is plus 190. That seems low, isn't it? I need more juice than that.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
That's nuts.
I don't
But
know.
on the field, I had to bring up Taylor Swift to piss off everybody.
Dude, on that note, for just a second, did you see how much money she's made the NFL and the Chiefs?
Yeah,
$350 million.
She's an international superstar.
It's insane. Anyway,
But
carry
no
on.
one sells out stadiums the way she does.
That's true.
Without making money for everybody.
It's true.
Hand over fist. What are the matchups you're watching closest in this game? I'll give you my first
yeah,
one.
you go for it.
I think that one of the biggest things, if the 49ers are going to win this game, and I know this usually goes without saying, it's about pass rush. And what are Nick Bosa and all those guys up front,
Chase
Young,
Javon
and
Hargrove.
Javon Hargrove, all those guys, what are they going to be able to do to exploit in that Chiefs offensive line? I think Nick Bosa could have a game of the ages.
Yeah.
If he shows up, defensive player of the year caliber player he
Chiefs
is.
tackles aren't very good.
Shawan Taylor and
Smith.
Donovan Smith. I think Donovan Smith, you know what makes me laugh? Dating this back to the offseason, everybody talked about Shawan Taylor being this high-paid guy. Oh, don't worry about him. He'll be great. And everybody looked at Donovan Smith as a guy who's on the back end of his career. He's going to be horrible. He's been the better
Of the
he's been the
two?
better tackle. He's been by far the better tackle on the left side. But I saw Nick Bosa. He was asked about both those tackles, and he said they hold. Like, they hold a lot on film. So maybe that's a little bulletin board material. But Nick Bosa and that front for the 49ers, they have a chance to really get after that offensive line. If they're able to get some pass rush, generate some pass rush, keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket, it could be really tough for that Chiefs offense to get going, because we know that Travis Kelce, who is the main target for Patrick Mahomes, if you take away time from Patrick Mahomes, they're not able to exploit the holes in the defense the way they normally do, because it kind of makes me laugh. This week is like the first time I've really heard people talk about it, but it's been for guys like us who like sort of study the game, see film. You've been knowing this for a while. Travis Kelce doesn't really run like routes. Like, he runs routes, but he converts them constantly.
He sits in zones.
And then he sits in zones, and they're just so good with each other. And they understand how each other's mind works.
But I will say there's less margin for error against the 49ers with that, because you got Fred Warner
I know,
and
I
Drake
get
Greenlaw
that,
over there.
but when you're freestyling, you could get away with freestyling
It's true.
against anybody. If you get a pass rush after Patrick Mahomes, you give them less time to find those zones.
Yeah.
Less time to examine a defense. That's why I say that front has to really get after that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line.
Yep.
But yeah, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw definitely. They'll have their hands full, but I trust them more than anybody else, any other linebacking core in the NFL.
Yeah.
To be able to handle that.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about linebacker cores. They did just go against arguably 1A, 1B in Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith.
Yeah,
So,
I do think though, like the way Roquan was playing, I think I haven't seen like Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw slow down this year. I thought Roquan through the playoffs, and especially in that Chiefs game, he was just kind of a little out of it.
all right, I'll give you my matchup. It is going to be Brock Purdy versus Steve Spagnuolo.
Okay, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I figured you would. Brock Purdy has been incredible this year. get all the hate out of the way, whatever, it doesn't really matter. He's been incredible. He's done things that someone of his caliber coming out of college have never really done at this level. Like, it's hard not to give him credit because he's been amazing. Steve Spagnuolo is, in my mind, one of the most underrated coordinators in the history of the game. He's never really gotten talked about. And you say, okay, well, the Chiefs really haven't had a good defense until this year. First off, that's not really that true. You look at the personnel that they had, the lack of talent that they had, and the success that they had in moments when they had to have it. It was pretty impressive.
It's playoffs.
It's playoffs.
It's when he really shows up. He did that with the Giants when they beat the 18-0 Patriots.
Right, and
like, that's his calling card, his playoff, dialing up a good game plan.
Yeah, thanks for taking all my points.
Sorry.
Thanks for taking all my points. That's not where I was going at all. I think a lot of people forget that Steve Spagnuolo, like if you're just a casual or someone just talking about the Chiefs and their defense and stuff, you forget that Steve Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants when they beat the greatest team that's ever been assembled.
Yes.
And Steve Spagnuolo's always had successful defenses because, you know what, honestly, he simply just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He'll do whatever he thinks he needs to do.
He'll fire your ass up.
He will. He will light you up.
He will blitz every play if he has to.
He will light you up. And I think it's a very interesting chess match. So you could go back and you could call it Kyle Shanahan versus Steve Spagnuolo if you want to. But Kyle Shanahan's not the one out there getting live bullets thrown at him. And I know Steve Spagnuolo is not the one blitzing, but he is the one throwing the bullets.
Well,
I mean, he
knows that Brock Purdy's a young, impressionable quarterback still, even as well as he's played.
Right.
And that O-line outside of Trent Williams, let's be honest, it's not that good.
No.
Like, they are not, I mean, the other four guys are very average, if not below average.
Right. And I don't know. I just think we saw what Steve Spagnuolo did to Lamar Jackson, made him very uncomfortable. And I think he could do the same to Brock Purdy. I think it's certainly out there. I mean, this team has the defensive capabilities to make any quarterback uncomfortable. We've seen at times this year, even for as good as Brock Purdy has been, there have been times when he's gotten uncomfortable. Yeah. And when he's been forced to do things that he's not comfortable with, he doesn't look good. He does not look like he has control of the offense. And if they're able to do that, this is the Chiefs game.
Hell, first half against the Lions, when the Lions were getting a pass rush after him, he struggled his ass off.
For sure.
So I think that, I mean, I fully believe that's on the table. But Spags, man, it's hard to imagine him losing a battle to a quarterback that's that young like Brock Purdy. But we'll see. We shall see, man. That dude Spags has been doing it for a while. I don't appreciate for him for his time as a St. Louis Rams head coach. He was one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen, but he can coach up a damn defense.
Yeah, he
brother.
can.
And he's getting up there in age.
Yeah,
he's been around.
He's been around.
A long.
I mean, you got to think
damn
that Super Bowl against the Patriots was 17 years ago, so he's been around.
Yeah, he has.
And it's not like he wasn't around before that. That wasn't his first.
And the other thing about Steve Spagnuolo, to your point, he maximizes just about every player on his defense, even if they're not that good.
Without a doubt.
He gives them their role and he lets them thrive in it.
Yeah,
and I look at a guy like L'Jarius Sneed. I can't believe he's become the player he is right now.
Their whole secondary.
Yeah, literally. You don't really know
outside of Trent McDuffie, who was a first round pick. Outside of him, it's a bunch of scraps.
Yeah. And L'Jarius, no one had any expectation for L'Jarius Sneed.
Tranquil, for crying out loud, has been really good.
Leo Chenal, bro.
Leo Chenal. Yeah.
Like, my God.
He takes guys and makes them good.
Yeah. One thing that they'll be missing, Charles Omeni, who's out with the ACL, starting DN.
Right.
I think he used to be a 49er. So that would have been a little revenge game for him. But he can play the run and get after the passer a little bit. That's going to be something missed. Now they'll only have George Karlaftis as their big edge rusher. But Chris Jones comes up in these type of situations too.
Huge.
So
pretty much every time.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a fun game.
Very fun.
Any other thoughts? Are we ready to wrap it down?
I think we're good.
I think that pretty much puts a bow on it. All right, everybody. We appreciate you for joining us this week. We all three hope you have a wonderful Super Bowl weekend. Enjoy it. Have you some beers.
Yes.
Have you some food.
Responsibly, though.
Responsibly. Let's keep petitioning for the Monday after the Super Bowl to be a day off for everybody.
Yes, please.
In the United States of America. We're going to keep pushing that until it finally happens. But no, we appreciate you guys for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, comment there. If you are listening wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, any of those other spots, you can do all those same things there. Appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.